Good afternoon. It is March 30th of 2024. And this little video here is to people who are looking at the Nagel Recomar 18 that I have listed on the well-known auction site. Now, this is to particularly talk about these. These are film holders for sheet film. They hold one sheet of 2 1/4 inch by 3 1/4 inch film in each. Now, I'm going to do a short demonstration here just to let everyone know how these work. Now, the film that we're talking about here is this little sheet I have displayed before you, which is 2 1/4 by 3 1/4. The notch you see is in the upper right-hand corner of the sheet. Here. This is your benchmark for figuring out which is the emulsion surface or the back. And so when you're holding it in your right hand, now this is biased because we are all not right-handed, but if you're holding this in your right hand, the notch should fall right at your fingertip. And it's tactile. It's meant to feel and say, okay, the one notch there with a curved cut, as I can feel that with the ribs of my fingertips there, that tells me that this is the film of a certain kind. In this case, I think we're looking at 100 speed Aristo. This is the single notch I think they do for the 400. They got 2 notches. But nonetheless, these holders that we're going to talk about today, and in the listing that you're looking at, there are 10 of these, and I've used them all. Some of these have shown that the robustness of this light seal is not what it used to be 100 years ago. So there have been a couple of incidences in the shooting I've been doing this week where I can see that light has crept into the holder here. Now, the solution for that isn't to just throw up your hands and say, oh crap, I got to change the light seals. No, you can fluff up the light seals. They will come back a bit if you just give them a rub, and be like rubbing a cat the wrong way. And then when you go ahead and load it up and then seal it back again, you then make sure that this here is covered. Use a black velvet bag. One will be included, actually, with the listing. Always keep these in the dark. And if you want to shoot with them, you shoot with them quickly with a tent over the camera. It's best to shoot indoors. I wouldn't recommend taking these things out in the direct sun. They're just, at that particular juncture, not robust enough. So, anyways, I love the gray ones. It took me a while to hunt up an array of these things that I enjoyed and that worked. Now, the gray ones here are my favorites. Now, I'm not sure whether this is what you call the famous 19% gray. I'm not sure. I wouldn't think it's far off for a neutral gray to meter off of. You see there's variations. These are all from different sources. They're just the same make and model. I think the only 3 that came together were these. And so let's just pick one at random and give you an idea of how this is used. Now, we like that. Now, each one of these has an interior structure that is designed to come apart. And that's because it is a combination film and plate holder. Now, when I take the dark side out, and I face the dark side, shiny side out always, take the dark side out, just set it down nearby, facing the same way that you had it with this in this orientation. It just comes into play later. You're doing this with your eyes closed. Now, this one here, we have fogged film in it already, and what I'm going to do is just pop it and show you that we've loaded it with the sheet facing upwards, as we can tell, because there's our notch. But that's not how we load it. We don't load it with the thing face up like this. So let me take this out. Notice, please, that this structure here has indented bars at the corners. These indented bars are designed for you to hold this in your left hand. Again, I know all these things are not relating to people who are left-handed, but please follow anyway. You can switch it around to your likes as you wish. You want to hold this with the notch up, and then holding this towards you, drop it into here. And then you can risk a little tweaking just to make sure that it is seated in there. Note, it's right in the middle of that and it's not going anywhere unless you flip it out like I just did. Again, so emulsion side towards you, gate. I can't really show you that well in that direction, so I'm going to show it to you this way. Okay. Now, there it is. And up in, like that. So that little motion there, that's one of the trickiest parts of loading these, is because you're just letting them free fall. Sit there in their little cradle. I don't know, it might help to just stand the thing on end like that. You're working in the dark, mind you. And then once it's seated, and you can tell that it's seated, you can feel the back, that doesn't harm anything. You want to make sure your hands are clean before you do any of this, because you don't want the oils from your fingertips creating whorls on the surface of the emulsion side of the film. You can risk that if you've just, randomly touched your nose and the grease from that is on your fingertips, and then you inadvertently thumb this thing when it's in there, it's going to show when it gets developed. Not good. So you want to handle this stuff as little as possible. Some people would advocate linen gloves. I think linen gloves are way too finicky to work with at this scale. You can't. So you just grab that gently. You don't grab it. You just hold it there while you tilt the top down and then push the lock pin into place. And now we are loaded. That's as simple as I can describe it. Note, please, the gate here. So that is the effective size of your negative when you're done. It's not actually that. It's this. So once loaded, you go ahead and shiny sign out, because you just reached over and picked this up where you had laid it. And as long as this is face up, you're in the right orientation, and you can feel when it drops in place. When you tilt these together, you first put it in one side and you go over here, and it'll either naturally go right in, or if you go over it, you can do that. You hear that? So you just go ahead and apply a little pressure that way. There, it's dropped, and now you tilt it, and it'll go right in. So those are the tips I can give you for loading these. Once again, I have tested them this week. A lot of them show compromise right up here in these joints. So that's what to look for when you're looking at these and considering their use. Thank you very much for watching.